Welcome back to the channel, guys, and today we are talking about negativity. Yes, the number one thing everybody's thriving on at the minute. So first of all, I just want to say that basically what it boils down to is in the Bible it tells you that violence begets violence, murder begets murder, positivity leads more positivity, and it's the same with negativity. Negativity breeds more negativity. But the thing is with negativity, it's much more powerful than people can explain. So I asked ChatGPT quickly why everything's so negative, and it basically said that it triggers more powerful emotions. So basically they're playing on your emotions. They want you to be negative. So think about it like this. When the rage bait on the internet, when you get rage baited, basically what's happening is they're basically like, they really want your attention. So the rage bait is so that it triggers a response. So imagine somebody who's actually doing a YouTube channel and they put some rage bait out and they're not bothered about the negative comments that everybody's saying because they know the algorithm's going to help them push their content further and further out. And that's the thing. If I Google something or just type it into YouTube, the algorithm expects that that's what I'm interested in. So if it's something negative that doesn't benefit my life, the algorithm doesn't know that. The algorithm just thinks that I'm there because that's what I enjoy. So for people who are making YouTube videos about the news, about all this negative stuff that's happening in the world, they benefit from that because that's how they make their living. And it's exactly the same with the news. The news make their living by getting your attention. And this is the thing that ChatGPT said. Go on ChatGPT and ask it why everything's so negative. And the first thing it'll tell you to do is limit your news intake. That's how toxic it is. And a lot of the time for me, I just find it funny. But one thing that pisses people off more than anything in this world is hypocrisy. And that's what I think we've got a lot of in this world, because I've just posted something about that lass, Sam Kerr, who basically was a racist. She's a racist. And she got off with it. Because apparently you can't be racist to white people. That's going to piss people off, you know what I mean? And then it's all this white privilege stuff and all that. But it's coming from the same side. It's coming from the left. And this is why, one of the reasons is why I'm much more right-wing than I ever believed I would ever be. Because I was brought up to hate conservatives, hate rich people, and just, like, suffer at the bottom, basically. And, like, one thing for me is that if it gets too bad in this world, one of my outs is to just go and become a priest or a monk. And Peter was talking about this the other day, about monks. So big up, Peter. Well done. I hope you're watching this. And good luck with your semen retention, because you're doing absolutely amazing. And I love the video about the monks and the monastery that you visited. I want to know which one you visited, because I visited a monastery in Croatia. And it was an island monastery, so I had to get a boat there. So there was no contact with the outside world for this monastery unless they got a boat back to the mainland. And this is the thing with the monks. So imagine a monk, right? He does his work, he does his prayer, he does his singing along with his other monk mates, and then he doesn't consume any news. He doesn't consume anything from the outside world. So the chances of them having any negative energy is just so slim. You know what I mean? These monks, that's when I found out about monks. I live next to a priory monastery, which was a monastery. Priory Castle or Priory, it's actually a monastery. So the monks back then, when they worked, they never used to talk to each other. So that's when I found that out, I invented what I call monk mode. So monk mode is something that can help your positivity, because you're going to just be focused in on yourself all the time. You're not going to be consuming any TV. You're not going to be seeing any news. And this is where going monk mode or ghost mode, you cut out all the people in your life who are negativity. And one of the things that ChatGPT also said was setting boundaries. So you can tell your mates, like, look, I'm going on this fitness kick. Don't get in touch with us to go on the piss. If you want to come for a run with us, or if you want to come to the gym with us, get in touch. And that's setting a boundary. And a lot of the times, if you do that in this world now, your mates will be like, oh, so you want a bloody fitness kick? Oh, you don't want to drink anymore. And that's what I was mentioning about people who are saying, like, oh, so it's cool to have bad habits and stuff like that. Well, the reason why it's cool to have bad habits is because they want to drag you down too. Nobody wants to wander off on a negative path on their own. So see, you've got a whole world that's negative, or a whole world that's positive. If you've got a whole world that's positive, the person who's negative is unlikely to drift off and go down a negative path on their own. And it's the same with, if all the world's negative, somebody doesn't really want to go off on a positive path on their own. But which one to you is most likely going to be happening? A world that's fully positive with one person dropping off to go on a negative path, or a whole world that's negative and one person dropping off and going on a positive path? It's going to be the person that goes on the negative path, isn't it? On the positive path, away from the negativity. You know what I mean? Somebody's not going to drift off away from the positivity on their own and go, oh, you're all too positive, compared to somebody who goes off on a positive path on their own and says, I can't be arsed with yous anymore, you're all too negative. And that's literally what it's like for me in life now. Like, I'm becoming so close to God, and I think about God so much. And I just feel like if it becomes too much, I'll just go and get a job as a preacher. I mean, like, imagine getting paid as a preacher to pray, paid to preach the good word of the Lord. You know what I mean? There's no better dream job in that sense. But the thing is, guys, like, if I went into the church, like, I would have to go in with such positivity and such anti-corruption, so that I don't get corrupted and go down all these negative paths that everybody takes you on. So anyway, to finish this off, I want to talk about an old Native American proverb about the good wolf and the bad wolf. So inside each of them, which is the yin and yang, is a good wolf and a bad wolf. And you've probably heard this on a podcast where they try to twist it into their own words and say, oh, you've got one wolf tied up who's a good wolf, and you've got one bad wolf tied up, which one wins? And then they say, oh, it's the one you feed. Like, to twist that sort of that proverb into that is just bullshit. It's inside of you that you have to be aware. Hyper-awareness, that's what I call it. Hyper-conscious. Hyper-conscious about what you're consuming. Whether you're consuming things that are feeding the good wolf, or whether you're consuming things that are feeding the bad wolf. You know what I mean? So when it comes to my fitness, I'll always watch somebody who's better than me so that I can inspire to be as good as them. I don't look at people lower than us and say, like, oh, I'm better, I'm much more muscular than him, blah, blah, blah. And that's the thing with the world, guys, now, where it's almost like a big Jeremy Kyle show, where people used to say, oh, I like watching Jeremy Kyle because it makes us feel better about my life. You know what I mean? So imagine I just dumped all my trauma on you. You're going to think, like, well, why is he feeling so traumatic? He's actually living quite a good life. But in sense, and this is what I find weird, is like, my life's much worse than most other people's. You know what I mean? I've got no friends. I've got no girlfriend. I've got no kids. My family don't even speak to us. Well, mostly I don't even speak to them, because, like, they're just off on their own, like they're just off, just doing their thing, you know what I mean? And I'm doing my thing. So I went to my family do the other week, my cousin's 50th birthday party, and he literally had a grand behind the bar. I could have drank as much as I wanted to, but I chose not to drink. And the only other person that wasn't drinking there was my Uncle John, which I was quite impressed about. But he chooses not to drink because it makes him feel like shit now. And it's not surprising because he's like 70 odd. So of course it's going to make you feel like shit if you're still drinking at that age. Honestly, it's like we just can't get away from this childish sort of way of life. We really need to grow up as a society. But honestly, let us know what you guys think. But yeah, anyway, my point was, so when I left the party, I said, right, I'm off, guys. And then one of my cousins just jabbed us in the stomach and she was like, oh, is it not healthy enough here for you? And it's like, well, no, it's not. But I come to say hello. And that's what I was asked for. That's all I was asked for, is to show me face, whether I'm drinking or not. It'll be good for my cousin to see us. And he was well impressed. And he basically said to us, like, I'm not watching your content because it's too controversial or it's too much. It's literally people can't handle the savagery. But the reason why I'm so savage is because I seen this coming in the world. I seen it all coming. Especially before the lockdown as well. And one of the things that I can be negative about if I wanted to is because the world leads you down a really bad path. And then when you fall off the cliff, there's no safety net for you. That is literally the crack. Cancel culture is the same. They'll lead you off a cliff and there's no safety net for you to fall on. And that's the same with the pandemic. I should have been able to get a religious exemption and B, a medical exemption because I had a bad heart anyway. I have got heart conditions, which I've got genetically from my mum. So there's no way I should have took 3 jabs. And when I took the 3rd jab, it nearly killed us. I had a resting heart rate of 120 beats a minute. And I was a goner. And I just said to myself, there's no way I'm letting this defeat me. I'm not going on pip. I'm not going to try and claim compensation. I just want to have my health back so that I've got control of my life. And that's what ChatGPT was also saying. You have to get control of your own emotions. And some of the things is basically boiled down to what you're consuming. It's all about what you consume. I consume none of that shit now, the TV. I even had a chat with ChatGPT, and I'll go into this in another video just before we finish up. And I wrote a conspiracy theory about parasites that they all said that they put the jab in was so they could put chips in. Basically what they've probably done is the only way they're gonna control you is through parasites. Mind controlling parasites, which are protozoa parasites, which can control your mind and you don't even know about them. We're riddled with parasites and all that. Like imagine all these foreigners that are coming over. And I'm not racist, but they could be bringing diseases over that we don't know about. And then they're cooking your food at these burger bars and all that, and you don't even know what you're putting in you. Like, there's no way I would consume anything outside of my house now because you just don't know what they're touching and what they're doing, you know what I mean? And here's the thing, how many people do you know that are going to go out this Valentine's Day, and I bet you loads of them come back ill? Because the thing is, everything is now super toxic. Nobody cares about other people anymore. And until people start doing it, you're not really safe anywhere. And that's the thing, guys. You've got to watch what you're consuming. Yeah. So anyway, that's my little. I'm not dumping any trauma on anyone. If I dump my trauma on here, you'd all need bloody. If I went to a therapist, she would need a therapist. That's literally. You didn't want my trauma dumped on you, but. You've just got to get with it, guys, and get with God, because, like, at the end of the day, you've got to be the change you want to see in the world. And I want to see a fitter, better world, so that's why I concentrate on the fitness. I want to see better mental health. I'm not really bothered about all the politics. I just want people to be good and healthy, because when you're good and healthy, you're productive, and when you're productive, things get done. Right, guys, finishing up on that, I'm going to go, because I've got washing and that to do, and dishes to do, so I'll catch you all later.